Welcome to the Bettis Musgrove Show, the podcast where personal injury legal expertise meets real-world advice to empower and protect you. Join us as we delve into the critical aspects of personal injury cases, break down legal jargon into actionable insights, and share essential safety tips to help you navigate life's unexpected moments. And now, here are your hosts, Spencer Bettis and Ben Musgrove.
All right, welcome to episode 11 of the Bettis Musgrove Show. As always, I'm Ben Musgrove. This is my law partner, Spencer Bettis. We own and operate a boutique law firm here in Cumming, Georgia, specializing in personal injury. We started this podcast several months ago to inform the general public more about what we do as personal injury lawyers, offer a little advice, and hopefully help somebody in the event that they're ever involved in a personal injury-related event. And recently, we've shifted this podcast into more community focus, bringing in people from the community who are involved in different organizations to shed light on what's going on around us. And today, I'm honored to bring a special guest to the crew. So, Spencer, why don't you introduce us?
Yeah. So today we have Cumming Police Chief PJ Girvan with us. Very, very glad you joined us. Thank you. Just a little bit about him. He's a husband, a father, a citizen of this county, and just I guess you look awesome either way.
Yeah.
But also the Cumming Police Chief been doing some really great things with the police department that have been awesome to see. He's also the part of our class team in Leadership for Sight, which I'm in the class right now, and they do a good job putting on events for us. And he also is in the North Forsyth Rotary with me, which is also a pretty awesome group that he got me into. So without further ado, we'd like to introduce you like we just did, and then also kind of talk about your journey and how you became the Chief of Police at Cumming, your journey in law enforcement. So do you don't mind just kind of share your story a little bit with us?
Yeah, brag on yourself for a little bit.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. So I grew up in Forsyth County from Ducktown, still unincorporated, but I am from Ducktown. My grandma still lives there, aunts, uncles, cousins, all my family's still in Ducktown. But grew up in Forsyth County. Both my parents were police officers. My mom was a police officer growing up for Fulton County Police when they still had a big police department. She's one of the first 10 women, female, and yesterday was National Female or Women's Officer Day, so she's first female in the state of Georgia. She's in the top 10 to be on a SWAT team, so that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Growing up with that. So growing up, I used to see my mom, get call-outs on SWAT, got to see all the cool gear she was bringing in.
Yeah.
And my dad worked for Atlanta Police Department. He was on the Red Dog unit when they had Red Dog back in the day, so I got to hear a lot of those stories. And my parents are separated. My stepdad's also a retired police officer. He was with Fulton County Police. And then both him and my mom retired from Sandy Springs Police within the last 10 years. So just growing up and seeing them really, I knew at a young age that I wanted to get in law enforcement. I think the why of why I wanted to get in law enforcement has changed as I've matured. Back then, I wanted to get in because, I got to see other cool gear, drive fast cars, shoot guns. I thought that was awesome. But as I mature now and have kids, there's a bigger meaning about being a servant, and that's what I appreciate about being in law enforcement now. But I started off my law enforcement career with the City of Atlanta Police Department. I started with them in 2010, went through the police academy with them. After graduating the police academy, got assigned to uniform patrol, worked there, answered 911 calls for multiple years before applying to the Apex unit, which is similar to the Red Dog unit. Red Dog unit, of course, got shut down, but it's really a crime suppression unit for violent crimes in the city of Atlanta.
Yeah.
So I had a partner there. We rode around, got to see a lot of cool stuff. We only responded to violent crimes. While in that role is when all the Ferguson protests started, so I got to work a lot of those protests, get a lot of experience with that.
Wow.
And after a couple of years over there, I applied to the Executive Protection Unit for the mayor of Atlanta, and I became the driver for the mayor of Atlanta and drove them around for a couple of years, him and his family, and had a couple kids, got married, and me and my wife were living in the city at the time, and she was ready to come back home, so we didn't have take-home cars there. She got tired of the commute, so came back to Forsyth County.
Excellent. And you get to drive cars faster up here too, right?
Oh, yes.
Not a suggestion. That's cool. So how long have you been with Cumming Police Department?
So I've been with Cumming Police Department 5 years in February.
Okay. Very cool. And how long have you been chief?
So I was appointed chief June 28th of last year.
Okay, and to make that distinction, so it's an appointed role, not an elected role.
Yes.
Appointed by mayor, I guess.
City council.
City council.
Yes.
And we had city councilman on last episode. So.
Yeah, he's one of my bosses.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys spoke highly.
And God bless. So growing up in Forsyth County, what's it like now being a police officer in the city where you essentially grew up? Man, I know Ducktown's a little further out, but not crazy far.
Yeah. So especially Cumming Police, growing up here, Cumming Police, the transformation of Cumming Police recently has been huge the past couple of years. But growing up here, Cumming Police didn't have many officers. If I went to the fair or Movies 400, I remember they had an officer there when Movies 400 was still here. And that's the only time I really saw Cumming Police. So back then, I didn't really picture myself working here. I kind of wanted to work for a big city.
Yeah.
And, yeah, but being here now, I mean, I got a lot of friends here that I know, so I get a lot of calls every time someone gets a speeding ticket. So, but I let them know. Most of them know now. You gotta handle that in court.
Pay the ticket.
Yep.
How many officers do y'all have total in Cumming PD?
So right now we have 23 sworn officers. We're adding 2 October 1st, so we're going through applications right now so we can hire them on October 1st, bring us to 25.
Okay, very cool. I didn't know it was that many.
Yeah, it's growing.
You run 2 shifts, or 3 shifts?
Yes, we've got 2 different shifts. They work 12-hour shifts, or really 4 different shifts.
Okay.
Because they have rotating off days. They got 12-hour shifts. We also have a criminal investigations division. So they investigate, anything from property to violent crime. We actually have a guy right now training in Savannah with the GBI for crimes against children.
Yeah.
So we investigate all those.
Very cool.
And you've done a lot of big changes, even with a new program that came out the last couple of weeks. Can you tell us about that program?
Yeah, so with the Cumming Police Department, we a lot of my guys, it's crazy how this happens. I've never seen it before, but they'll even volunteer for some non-profit organizations off duty. That's just the type of people they are. And we work with Creative Enterprises a lot and Behavior Link. They're both in the city, and Behavior Link supports kids with autism, and Creative Enterprises supports adults with special needs. So 2 of our officers actually have children with autism, and just over the years, I've heard their problems and their concerns. And, one of them tells a story that he could be out at the doctor's office. His son's 10 years old, and they'll grab someone else's phone, thinking it's theirs, and look for their favorite game on there or something. And he's concerned about when his son gets older, because if you're an adult, someone's going to react different to that. We've had a couple years ago, we had an autistic adult run away from City Park, and he entered into a house through a window. Good thing the homeowners assessed the situation and realized, something was off, and notified authorities, and we went there and handled it accordingly. But we developed what we call the Community Autism Program, which is a 100% volunteer program, but it just lets officer know if a kid or an adult has autism. We're taking extra training so we know how to approach the situation a little differently. So yeah. We've made bands that they can wear, and we also have decals for vehicles, and we have those 2 officers who have autistic children are going to specialized training to teach not only our officers at the Cumming Police Department, but we've been getting requests for them to train everywhere. So we're going to send them out and really try to make a new movement in Georgia. So we are understanding these individuals, and we're treating them appropriately.
That's awesome. I mean, I don't think it's big of a thing when we were kids, but certainly nowadays it seems like you've got more autistic people out there. So
yeah, and I'm new on it. I'm not a professional, but Mallory Brown with Behavior Link gave a presentation. She's been helping us with the whole thing, but she gave the numbers, how they're increasing every year. Yep. So it is something we definitely need to look at. And is it strictly run by Cumming PD, or is it just a community? So it is with Cumming PD right now. We're working with Forsyth County 911 because they'll enter in. There's a law that passed in 2021 called Logan's Law. So yeah. That's voluntary too, but when we run a tag or look up a person through our database system, we'll be able to see, maybe they don't like blue lights, and we'll know to cut the blue lights off. So we'll know what triggers them just from that. So we've been working with Jill Spence from 911's been awesome working with us as well. That's pretty cool. Anything similar to that else going on? So we heard about we heard a little bit about it from Jill Spence from 911, and we looked up other departments in Georgia. We didn't find one, but there's Orland Park, Illinois had a good program, and we've reached out to them, and they've been helping us get this together.
Well, that's pretty cool. Kind of trailblazers, I guess, in that area. So I like it.
Yes,
Taking the lead. Well, on that line, so you got that going on. Or does Cumming PD have any other types of organizations or events or anything like similar to the autism program that you guys do that may be different?
We help out nonprofits. One of the things we do, I have a female that works with us, and we have Jesse's House. I don't know if you guys are familiar. It's in the city. Yeah. So it's a shelter for juvenile females, and she volunteers. We let her, take off an hour early or come in an hour late each day, but she helps out the girls at Jesse's House. I know she set up a fashion show from one of the businesses at the city center. So she works with them a lot. She's taking the girls she's got a horse at a farm. She's taking them over there. Yeah. And then we just started doing Coffee with a Cop at Creative Enterprises. So we work with them a lot, and we really want to continue that. And I tell all the nonprofits or people who want Cumming Police to come by, we'll come by. You just have to let us know.
Yeah. Coffee with a Cop. I like it.
Yeah.
got a good ring to it. So it sounds like you're a natural coming into law enforcement. I mean, coming from the family that you did, were there any major pivotal moments or breakthroughs or anything that happened in your life that just solidified the fact that, yeah, this is what I'm going to do 100%?
I would say, like I said, growing up, I can't say like a special, like a moment that happened, but I can say it's changed. Like I said before, I like the guns and fast cars.
Right.
But now, just when I'm out, even if I'm changing some old lady's tire on the side of the road, you're someone's worst day and you're helping them out.
Sure.
I mean, just the serving, just helping people out, that does it for me every day.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, none of us are going to become millionaires being in law enforcement. Right. So we got to have those moments that give us those good feelings.
Absolutely.
Well, let's bring it into the realm of what we do, and just purely what happens with an auto accident. That's what we deal with a lot. What is, can you kind of walk us through what an officer's job is whenever they are calling out to an accident?
Okay, so there's multiple different scenarios on this. You got a private property accident that may take us. It's not going to be urgent, so we're going to take our time getting there. If there's no injuries, and we're just going to fill out a report and do it that way. If there's an accident with injuries, we are going to go there with blue lights. We're usually there most of the time before the fire department because we're always already on the road.
Right.
When we get there, we'll assess the situation, see if we need to render aid at all. After that, after the injured person is taken care of, fire and EMS show up, we'll transfer all responsibility to them, and then we'll start our investigation. We'll figure out, listen to both sides of the stories, any witnesses, figure out who is at fault. And obviously, if it's a serious accident, we'll have a specialized unit come out. But just as officers, we're just going to listen to both stories. We weren't there to witness it.
Right.
And we're going to see if there's any skid marks or anything, or what angles the vehicles were hit. And we're going to put whoever we thought was at fault, and we will, most of the time, 99% of the time, cite the at-fault driver.
Yeah. You guys go through training for that in police academy, or do you do that once you get to your...
Yes, we do. And for the specialized unit I was talking about, we actually have guys that are training. We have one that's already finished with the Cumming Police Department. Is the first one to do serious fatal accidents. And we have one more that's going through it right now, and they have to go through additional training. I'm not sure offhand, but it's on scene 1, 2, and 3. So a lot of math and something I was never interested in. But we do have guys that are interested in that. And we're looking to start our own traffic unit for serious traffic accidents, our own unit for it.
It's pretty neat. And today with the cars and the computers and everything, I mean, a lot of times we'll find it where the police officer or the sheriff's department has already downloaded the computer data before we ever get involved. You don't share it all the time. We have to go get it on our own, but I know that's something you guys have to know how to do. So
yeah, and that'll be on a serious traffic accident.
Right.
We would do that.
Very neat. You said 99% of the time you guys cite somebody when they're at fault. What makes that determination whether you cite them or not? Is it just...
So sometimes there's times we can't tell who's at fault, right? And I know some agencies will cite both drivers, but we're not going to cite anybody, and we'll just let them figure it out in court most of the time.
Sure. I know of Several times in the past, I've had to subpoena an officer to come in and testify in a trial. They never want to do it, obviously, because they're having to come in, be in court, and be away from their job or families or whatever. But the problem I run into more often than not is a couple of years may go by after the accident has happened. You guys have worked 500 more accidents since then. Is there anything that you guys do to sort of keep something fresh in your mind, like when you put in the report or something like that, so you can look back at it and say, yeah, I remember this accident? Or is it just...
Yeah, so the good thing now is we all have body cameras, so we can look up and review the traffic accident again. But we do take a report, and we write a real descriptive report, so we can... The way everyone writes reports, they all have their own way. Well, it'll take us back and remind us of that traffic accident.
Have you ever been called in to testify for a road wreck?
For a car wreck? No, I haven't.
No? All right.
Nope.
Got to get him on the stand.
Nope. I'm not trying to either.
Get him sweat a little bit up there.
I like it. No, for a car wreck, a bunch of other things, but not a traffic accident.
Yeah. Well, we all know what police officers do on a daily basis, or at least have a general understanding. What other roles do they fill in the community that you haven't highlighted already?
So, like I said, I talked about all the community stuff. Some other roles that we've gotten, some new roles that we have. We do have a school resource officer now at Horizon Christian Academy. That's new for Cumming Police Department. We started that this year. Another thing we started this year that's a new role is I talked with Sheriff Freeman. He's always great to the Cumming Police Department. Yeah. And our guys are now allowed to trial for the Forsyth County SWAT team. And I've got 2 guys right now. First time ever we've had City of Cumming Police Department guys on the Forsyth County Sheriff SWAT team.
That's pretty. I've met those guys, or some of them, and that's a serious crew.
Oh, yeah.
And the gadgets they have are unreal.
Yeah, and those guys are loving it, and it helps us a lot, so I'm appreciative for the sheriff for doing that. And we also started a drone team. We just got our first drone last year, but we got the guys trained up this year, and now we can deploy a drone when needed.
Okay.
And that will also help us out in traffic accidents.
Yeah, and I didn't think about this when I was preparing for today's podcast, but how often do you guys, I imagine a lot, you kind of intersect with Forsyth County?
We our criminal investigations division, if they're committing a crime and it's something that's just repetitive, usually they're going to go to Forsyth and City of Cumming. So our detectives from both agencies have a great relationship, and we'll share information all the time. But we try to work with them all the time. A lot of our guys train with the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office. They open any training to us, so the real relationship there is great.
Good. I mean, they got a great thing going on over there too, but it's good stuff.
How do you feel about how the community in Cumming, and we'll say Forsyth County in general, what is their general understanding? How do they feel about the police?
Okay, so coming from City of Atlanta, it's a lot different. So I've actually got, I would say a quarter of my department has worked in the City of Atlanta. So when I recruit guys from Atlanta, which I still try to do, I tell them to come out to eat with me, let's go to Los Rios. And when they see that people are fighting over to pay for their meal, they can't believe it, because that does not happen in the City of Atlanta. So community here is great. Walking at the city center, so many people will come up and thank officers for their service and really make them feel appreciative. So we love the community here.
I see you guys a lot, obviously doing the magistrate role and doing warrants. And I mean, every officer that I've ever come into contact with has just been spectacular. I mean, they're very well spoken, know exactly what they're supposed to do, get the job done, say thank you, and move on. So, I mean, I have no complaints about Cumming PD when it comes to warrants. On those lines, is there any, how do you see Forsyth County, or not Forsyth County, Cumming Police Department growing over the next, let's say, 5 years? What's your objective?
So right now, the biggest thing we've got going on is that we have a new precinct being built at the Cumming City Center.
Okay, that's right.
We've been in our precinct, I mean, it's for as long as I can remember. I know, Spencer, you've grown up here. It's the precinct's been there for a while, and it's time. So
it looks like it.
Yeah, especially the inside. So we try to have most of our meetings at City Hall, so people don't have to, we can remain professional as possible. So people will, no, we've got that going on. We have a few talks of a couple other things that we're working on. I don't know, are you guys familiar with the Real-Time Crime Center?
No.
So we're looking at hopefully get a Real-Time Crime Center. Hasn't been put up city council or anything, but we are doing research on it. Most departments are going to it. And what it is it's a room pretty much where there's a couple big screens, and we'll have an officer in there full-time just to view the camera. So if something happens at the city center, we'll be able to push a button and tell if an officer is responding to a suspicious person, and it sounds like the officer's voice, we can tell on radio if his voice is a little shaken up. We can push a button and see a live feed through that officer's camera to see, hey, should we send somebody else over there? But another thing it can do, if you own a business, just like right here, if you guys have cameras, we can have a guy from this company come and put a little chip in the camera, and then we'll be able to view if anything. Obviously, we'll have policies in place where we can't just be like, hey, what's Ben and Spencer doing? Or, you know what I mean? But
that would be very
anyway.
It's not at work again. Imagine that.
But if there's a burglary or something that comes up here, we can push a button and be like, hey, there's a white male in a Ford F-150. This is the tag. He just broke in and left the parking lot. And then it also incorporates with Flock, which are license plate readers.
Yeah.
So if they pass a Flock camera, that'll show up, and we'll be able to track the person just with the technology.
I wonder if that'll be available for open records requests. All right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think everything is, right?
We rely on it a lot.
Yeah.
When it comes to body cam footage, surveillance footage, whatever, like it's huge in what we do. Just because we didn't have videos a long time ago. Now, like you said, you can just pull it up and there it is. You see everything that happened.
Yeah. And like I said, we're doing a lot of research, so it hasn't been passed yet, but we're hoping.
We know again.
By the end of the year. Yeah. I know you guys know someone, so.
We can push it. No, I'm kidding.
I'm sure he'll hear about it soon.
Yeah. We'll see if he actually watches the podcast. What else you got, Spence?
So you're pretty involved in the community. I'd say you're really involved, which is awesome. Tell us a little bit about some of the things you're involved with on the personal service side, community service side. That's a big part of what we believe in our firm. But you can just kind of tell us about some of the things that you're involved in personally.
Okay. So personally, I'm on the Leadership Forsyth board, of course, on the class team. Real big fan of Leadership Forsyth. I know you guys are both alumni. I think that's a great program.
It really is.
And I'm a big fan of that, and I really try to pull a lot of people to go. I know I've talked to you, Marshall, try to get a couple other people to go next year, but it's a great program. Another thing I do is the Family Haven board. I'm on the board for Family Haven, which is a shelter for men and women, mostly women, but we just had our first male in there. That are victims of domestic violence.
Okay.
So these people come from all over, and they will give them a safe spot. So I am on the board for Family Haven, as well as on the advisory board for Boys and Girls Club, which just opened up.
Yep.
And I'm also on the board for CASA. So I just started that. And besides that, I help out Creative Enterprises a lot. My wife's uncle actually has Down syndrome, and he's a client there. So that's how I got in that. But we help them out a lot and really try to help out any nonprofits we can.
So when we get done with the city involvement, we're probably going to go to county and then maybe do some nonprofits. We'll have to hit you up and get some people in here to talk about different nonprofits.
So I can get you a bunch of them.
All right,
so
I like it.
I just, I got them calling me a lot, but I can't join anymore. I'm tapped out. So maybe they can recruit you guys,
And how many kids do you have?
4 kids.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
I've got 4. I have no idea how you do that.
Yeah.
That's
My wife's the same.
You coach ball too?
Yes. So spring, I'm not doing the fall, but spring baseball.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a packed schedule.
Yep. Baseball and competition cheerleading. So
I'm gonna make my wife watch this clip. She's just like, yeah, no, don't even think about it. Oh, it's great.
Any recommendations for people that want to get involved in the community, whether it's with one of those nonprofits or with the Cumming PD and a civilians?
Yeah. So with the Cumming Police, the only thing we really have right now, and we're trying to open up more positions, kind of do what the county's doing with volunteers, but we don't have that in place yet. But we do have a chaplain program. So we are always looking for chaplains to come just for help out with officer wellness and whatnot. But on the nonprofit, they're always looking for people. We have so many great nonprofits in this community, and we need people to really invest in them and help out. And a lot of these nonprofits, they're doing whatever they can to find people, but it is hard to find someone to volunteer to do that.
Sure. Yeah, life is busy just in general. Add another thing to it, it gets even crazier. And getting involved, not just financially, but with your time, I think is just as important.
Yes.
Tell me selfishly, so you're involved in a ton and obviously a public figure here in the community. What do you take away from it just personally?
So right now, I've been the chief over the years, the best job I ever had, but personally and do a nonprofit. We had that event for Creative Enterprise last week, and my kids get to sit down there and see me doing this and helping out other people. So that's what does it for me, is just having my kids see that, and hopefully it influences them and motivates them to follow that path and be servants someday.
It's probably not a coincidence. Chris said the exact same thing about serving on city council and different organizations. Like, my kids get to see it and they love it, and I get to watch them love it. And that's what it's all about. So
yeah, sometimes I tell my wife, because I was speaking. I can't remember where I was speaking, but I was like, "That was my parents. I think that's cool." But my kids are just used to it now. You know what I mean? So it's nothing to them. So
any of them talking about wanting to be getting to law enforcement? Are they too young yet?
No, I don't think so. Whoever they turn out to be is fine with me. But yeah, I don't know if they're gonna go law enforcement path. They know it's commitment, and unfortunately, with this job, Dad's not home a lot of times. So, whatever they decide, but they still change it up about every week. So we'll see. I think one of them's going to be a dentist right now.
Okay, and that's a good one.
The other two are going to be MLB announcers. So we'll see.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I like it.
What advice do you have for someone that's considering a career in law enforcement?
So if you're considering a career in local law enforcement, I suggest you go do ride-alongs, and not only look at the police department. Definitely look at the police department, see the growth there, see the leadership there, but also check out the court system. There's a big difference between Fulton County and Forsyth County. So check out the court systems, and the community. Community is the biggest part of it at all. We have such a great community in Forsyth. When we open up hiring, we just did 2 weeks ago, I've got 30 applications, and I think mostly it's because the community, they see officers out at the city center, is such a great place to work.
Yeah.
So I would say if you're looking around, definitely do some ride-alongs, and don't only talk to the people that are doing your interviews, the leadership, but talk to the officers. Talk to someone that's just been on for a year or two and see how they like the department.
That makes sense. Absolutely. What else we got? I think you've already covered that. Yeah. So tell me, reflecting back on your career, I think you said 2010, right? That's when you started APD.
Yes.
If you could offer yourself one piece of advice, go back and offer yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
If I had one piece of advice, I would have kept the same path, Atlanta, the sheriff's office, and Cumming PD. But looking back now, and I love local law enforcement, I have the best job ever, but one thing I never did was I never was part of like a federal task force to see, they've got a lot of task force the sheriff's office does where people work with the FBI, Secret Service. I would have loved to been part of that and seen how the federal side of law enforcement works.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so we're going to move into what we call rapid fire questions. Probably silly questions, but to kind of make it a little bit more fun other than just all the serious talk. I'll ask you. You want to ask you as well?
Yeah.
So first one we always ask is Chevy or Ford?
Chevy. I drive a Chevy truck, so definitely Chevy.
We get a lot of Ford guys in here, surprisingly. Yeah. So we ask everybody Starbucks or Dunkin', but now I'm adding another one in there, or local coffee shop.
So I'm going to add one more because a lot of cops don't do coffee. I do the sugar-free green monster from A&L Quick Stop up here. So energy drinks.
Sugar-free green monster. All right.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of coffee, but I do probably drink way too many energy drinks.
All right. I told you this was coming. What's your favorite sports team?
Braves, Miami Dolphins, and Florida State.
All right. So next question, is Florida State going to make the playoffs?
Not a chance. Yeah, not a chance.
Great. What about the Bulldogs? You follow them at all?
Yeah, I do. I got a lot of friends that bark at me and stuff, but yeah, just a little. I think they're going to fall behind Texas this year.
Really?
Texas looks pretty good.
Heard it here first. There you go.
That's your bets in.
That's it.
What's the last book you read?
Probably, I've been taking all these leadership classes. It was the second time I read it, but Simon Sinek, Start With Why.
Okay. I've never read that one.
Have you ever heard of Simon before?
Mm-mm.
Really? You need YouTube when you get out of here. Big leadership guy. He's awesome.
Cool. I'll do
it. Dinner with any historical figure, whether they're living or deceased, whatever it may be. Who would it be and why?
So that may change for me. It just changed recently. I went to Mount Vernon in July and got to see George Washington's mansion. So, and I got to hear a little bit about his leadership and speak to everybody at Mount Vernon. So I'd say right now, George Washington. It was an awesome trip, and I learned a lot about him.
You ever seen Shane Gillis' stand-up little bit about George Washington?
No, I haven't. Does that have something to do with his teeth?
Yeah, it does, actually. Go watch that when you get done.
Okay.
It's pretty funny. Go ahead.
Last meal you would ever get to eat, what is it and where is it from?
Me and Spencer went there today. I would have to say either Rooster's Wings or something from Los Rios. If you want to find me during the week, I'll either be at Rooster's or Los Rios.
That is a dedicated Forsyth town.
Yeah.
I like this. What's your favorite thing to do at the end of a stressful day?
Probably my favorite thing is, and I've got to work on this a lot to really just shut off work and focus on my family and be present. But I would say throwing the baseball with my kids. Last night, me and my son watched the Dolphins game, even though it didn't turn out the way we wanted it to. It's awesome. You know, my son's never played football, and last night he's like, Dad, I think I want to play football. So it's pretty cool just hanging out with my kids and being present.
I like it. Same. What's your favorite vacation spot that you've ever visited?
So, probably Craig, Colorado. I went on a pronghorn hunt there with my wife, and first time I've been to Colorado. It's probably 45 minutes from Steamboat. It was beautiful there.
Yeah.
So
Shoot one?
Yes, first day.
How did it taste?
It was awesome.
I was talking to a guy about this last week. He's like, they're good, but you've got to be careful dragging them out because you'll get sage on them, and it'll ruin the meat. I don't know if that's true or not, but he's like, they'll have a real sagey taste to them.
Yeah, ours tasted great. I thought it was better than whitetail, and definitely want to go back. But they had a bad storm there, so they're struggling with population right now. And it cost a lot of money, so I've talked my wife into it. So
I'd like to do that as well.
What's a skill or hobby you picked up recently?
So hobby is I go to jiu-jitsu right here at Ascension.
Okay. My kids just started there 2 weeks ago.
They going to the north or
They went to the north one first. We're going to move down here to the city one because they said there's more girls, and I have all girls. So.
Oh yeah, no, it's awesome. Have you met Junior Masensa?
I can't remember the lady's name. Not Maria. It'll come to me in a minute. She was Mariana, maybe.
Yeah, so that's his daughter-in-law, and then the other girl's the daughter. But Junior actually fought in the UFC. I don't go as much as I should, but plan to start back up Monday. That's what it is every week. But yeah, Junior, that's an awesome program. Junior actually instructs. We've got a deal with Cumming Police Department and Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, and he instructs all the officers in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So.
I listened to a guy on Rogan's podcast talking about he thought every law enforcement officer should be trained in jiu-jitsu.
Yes, and obviously we don't require it. I try to get all the guys to go, but we pay for their membership, and a lot of them do. And there's studies that shown it. And actually, who really took off bringing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu into law enforcement was the Marietta Police Department.
Okay.
So they were on national media and everything, but they did research, and use of force incidents actually went down when officers trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, that's incredible. What's one thing you can't live without?
Other than the Green Monster.
Yeah, other than if you drink more, terrible for you.
Yeah. I would like to live without my cell phone, so I'm not going to say that, but one item, I don't know, that one kind of stumps me. I'm trying to think. I mean, obviously family. You guys are thinking item.
I said my truck.
Yeah.
I'm pretty basic.
I would probably say my bow for hunting, because I love that. That's another stress reliever is a compound bow, going out there and just shooting in the yard.
Yep. Can't think about anything else but that.
Yep.
Maybe finish it off?
Sure. Do you have a favorite quote you live by?
Probably it is what it is, you know. And I get a lot of questions, and that's my answer. You know, people, it just is what it is. So when situations come up, I'm sure you guys get that a lot too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's a good one to have in law enforcement. And then favorite podcast,
other than the Bettis Musgrove show, obviously.
I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
So it makes me a little too much conspiracy theorist sometimes, so I need to dial back. But this is my start on podcast, so I'm hoping that's my next podcast I'm on.
Dude, start a CPD podcast.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
I know a guy.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up there. Appreciate you joining us. Can you tell folks, is there a place where they can go watch what you guys are doing, or find your website, social media, anything like that?
Yeah, so we've really amped up our social media. We started a social media unit at Cumming Police Department. So we are on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I haven't seen the TikTok one because I don't have TikTok.
Yep.
So I hope everything on there is what I approved. But we do have a TikTok now as well.
Y'all have somebody that runs that for you, or do you do it?
So I have, obviously, with this day and age, I've got a female officer. I think she's 22, 23.
Yep.
Really good with technology. It's her and then one of our lieutenants, Lieutenant Eskelin. They run it. They've both been sent to training to FBI LEDA on how to run social media for law enforcement, and they've been doing an awesome job.
That's cool. Well, you guys go check them out, get involved, help them out however you can. Get involved with some of the local nonprofits, too, that we talked about today, and we'll get links from you so we can throw those up. People can find them. You can find us at bettismusgrove.com, also on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. So give us a listen. Until next time, you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and God bless.